everyone. Welcome to Moments with Monika, a podcast where I engage in reflections on life, love, and learning. My background in early childhood studies is a lens that often shapes my views and reflections. I tend to understand the world as highly impacted by children, families, and individuals, as well as the policies, beliefs, and communities in which they live, love, work, and play. I see it as a reciprocal relationship. Join me in challenging and expanding my thinking through the help of others to live a more reflective life. You can find more of my work and what inspires me at monikaobermeyer.com. Let's get started, shall we?
This program is brought to you in part by bitcoinbasics.org. Learn how to get started with Bitcoin.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a little while. I took, a week off. It's been a little crazy here. Wedding and family and life. So sorry for the delay, but I'm back. I've done a lot of thinking about what I want to be talking about and where I want to be going with this podcast and what I'm hoping to achieve. And I think I will continue reflecting on this and continue working to what fits just perfect for me and what I'm the most excited about. But I keep coming back to some combination of speaking to educators, policymakers, and parents. So I think today's episode is much more for parents, but I really like talking to parents, partially because I somehow became a parent unexpectedly, I guess you could say. Instead, I became a step-parent. And I think I also love talking to parents because that's mostly where I started my career, was in working directly with parents. And then lastly, of course, I love talking to parents because I think they're the most important people in children's lives. And as you already know, kind of obsessed with the well-being of children. So today's episode is different. It comes actually out of something I've been thinking about in my personal life and my parenting life and just, moving forward from reading this amazing book called Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. Oh, I always pause at the name because I'm worried I'm going to say it wrong. But it was a great book. I've talked about it or written about it, I don't know where, but it keeps coming back to me. It was so well done, particularly because I also loved her TED Talk before, which made me read the book. Anyways, there's a section on parenting, and what really stood out to me are kind of like the messages that we give to children and how do we structure our family in a way that's more led by our example and by the messages we want them to carry forward, and rather than do as I say, not as I do. So like, am I doing the things in my actions that I actually want to pass along? Am I being that person for them to see, and am I modeling it? And then am I even being conscious, in my parenting decisions? So I think it started me writing this list of things that matter to me. And I have the thing that I wanted to share, which comes from, it is available on her website. So I'll try and post the link to it, at least in the social media post. I'll try and do it on the podcast description as well. But it's called the Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto. And it goes like this. Above all else, I want you to know that you are loved and lovable. You will learn from my words and actions. The lessons on love are in how I treat you and how I treat myself. I want you to engage with the world from a place of worthiness. You will learn that you are worthy of love, belonging, and joy every time you see me practice self-compassion and embrace my own perfections. We will practice courage in our family by showing up, letting ourselves be seen, and honoring vulnerability. We will share our stories of struggle and strength. There will always be room in our home for both. We will teach you compassion by practicing compassion with ourselves first, then with each other. We will set and respect boundaries. We will honor hard work, hope, and perseverance. Rest and play will be family values as well as family practices. You will learn accountability and respect by watching me make mistakes and make amends, and by watching how I ask for what I need and talk about how I feel. I want you to know joy, so together we will practice gratitude. I want you to feel joy, so together we will learn how to be vulnerable. When uncertainty and scarcity visit, you will be able to draw from the spirit that is part of our everyday life. Together we will cry and face fear and grief. I want to take your pain away, but instead I will sit with you and teach you how to feel it. I will laugh and sing. We will laugh and sing and dance and create. We will always have permission to be ourselves with each other. No matter what, you will always belong here. As you begin your wholehearted journey, the greatest gift that I can give you is to live and love with my whole heart and to dare greatly. I will not teach or love or show you anything perfectly, but I will let you see me, and I will always hold sacred this gift of seeing you. Truly, deeply seeing you. And that's beautiful, and I love it, and I love her work. But I got thinking about like what truly matters to me, and like what are the values that I want to bring to the table, and that I think whether my children are stepchildren or my children, or they have multiple homes or whatever, what is it that I really value and I really push? And I know there's some things that I already really do, like I love reading. And I really think that everyone should love reading. And I'm sorry for those who don't, and I may offend, but I love it so much. I just don't understand how people don't. So I know that's something I push heavily in my house to everyone. I'm like, I'm reading now. It's reading time. And, I always asking about what books people are reading in my family, and even friends, I'll talk about books. And that's just something I know that value is being shown. So I don't really have to worry about that. That's something I do so easily. But then what are the things that I don't maybe do as naturally? Or maybe I think I believe them, or I say I believe them, but then I don't act that way. So if I fight with my partner in front of our child, what message is that saying? If I'm petty, or if I'm self-conscious, what messages am I saying, even if I then go say, treat everyone with respect and love yourself. So I kind of wanted to come up with something that would be like my own little family manifesto, or my values that I think, would be good for me to just have around the house written down somewhere where I can see it. And when I'm acting differently, that's a good reminder for me, because I think the things that we want for our children are ultimately also the things we want for ourselves, and the things we really value. So aligning my own life in that way and living by those principles is probably the best way to share those principles. But then I got thinking and I realized, well, I kind of need to talk to my partner. He should be included in this discussion since they're his children and it's our home and it's not just my family. Even though I'm sometimes like the mama bear who's guiding the household at times, I guess. But, there's definite things I know he wants his children to learn and that he thinks are important to him and valuable messages that he wants to pass. And I know some of them are different than mine. So I think it's good that we sit down and kind of hash that out together. But so far I haven't gotten that time. We're both very busy and we're both go people. When we sit and talk, it's often about business. So it will be a good practice for us to sit and talk about something like this. But in the meantime, some of the things that I've kind of come up with are the things that I think I'm going to start doing from more often, or being more conscious of in my daily life. And these would be different for everyone. So I know in the book is very much focused on being authentic and being vulnerable and feeling your emotions for what they are and recognizing them, and so many things. Whereas in my perspective, I wasn't thinking just in that vein. I was thinking more in vein of what truly matters to me. Like, what if I were to die tomorrow, what are the things I hope that I've passed along? And so for me, I think and I think my partner will definitely agree on some of these. Like, we're very aligned in some stuff. So for example, I love learning. And I think that's not so pigeonholed that I would put a child in a place where they feel like they can't live up to that. I value intelligence, but I understand that may be a hard box to fit, to feel intelligent all the time. There's times when we feel stupid. There's situations where we're new, where we should not feel so intelligent in the moment. I instead value the ability to learn, the desire to learn, the thirst for learning. I've gone many places and felt dumb, but I've always gone into them feeling like I'm excited to learn this. I know I can learn this, and I will learn this. And I think that's something that I believe I would like to pass on to everyone, not just my children, but also my children I work with, the families I work with, that desire and that love and that excitement for learning, that learning is so fun and so empowering and so enriching for your life, that that's not number one, but that's way up there, And I think that would be way up there for my partner too. He truly believes in continuous lifelong learning as well. One that I think I want heavily for my children, but I'm not so good at modeling, is both having a healthy self-image and having a healthy relationship with your body. So what you put in your body, how you treat your body, really prizing that and making that important. I think we've really stepped up in this area in my house. We've made it a more conscious decision, but for a long time we were not. We always had junk food. We always had pop. We often would reach for the less healthy option. And I'm not talking in terms of being thin or fitting some sort of mold, because that's the balance. I want a healthy body image. I want the best, love your body despite how it looks. But you should also treat your body like it's the thing carrying you, and value that, and recognize that if you don't really love your body and treat it well with the things it needs, exercise, healthy food, all those things that we all know, then your life will be shorter. That's just the reality. There's less you can do. There's less you can achieve. If you are healthier, and if you've seen pictures of me, I'm not, Miss Health. So I'm not saying you need to be at the gym, but that is a great goal to have. And I think, having a body that can do the things you want it to do, that has the energy and the strength and the flexibility and all those things that can push you further, that's a fantastic message to send to your children. And, we do that in different ways now. We're definitely more conscious of it, and I think we're working on it, but we're not optimal. There needs to be a recognition too in that value that it takes work, but it's worth putting in. So even if that's a little thing we go for an hour walk in the forest as a family, it hits so many things because we also really value nature and the world. But it's time away from technology. It's time together. It's time just being outside, which is so valuable. But it's making that effort. It's making that a priority. And I think that's something that I very much value. I think something we'll both probably agree on when we finally sit down and do this is also questioning the world. Both of us are very comfortable not just accepting things at face value and questioning and challenging what's around us. The hard part here is we do pass this one on in our home. We do. But as your child gets older, that means you're part of the world they're questioning. And so that gives us some pushback when we set rules and we set expectations. And then we're told, you tell me to question everything. I can ask why. So yes, this is a challenging one for us. Although it's not, because it's clearly a message we do well, a message that we push. But approaching teenage years, this is going to come back to us. And we're going to have to accept that we will be questioned more and more, and we will be challenged more and more. And that's great, because we're an older generation with different beliefs, and perhaps some of those we haven't even questioned. We haven't challenged, and that's kind of exciting in itself. And so I have a whole list, and, once it's formalized, I think I'll post a blog about it. But that's just like some of the ideas. And I think that's useful for parents or for friends or for relationships or for whatever, to take the time and really think. You can call it manifesto or whatever you want, but to take time and to think, what are the values that really matter to me? What are the things that I really believe that I need to live if I want to receive them, or if I want to pass them on, or if I want to share them, or whatever it is you want to do with your values, whether it's impart them on your children or expect them from your partner. Those, if you haven't sat down and questioned them yourself and really sort of defined them, it's going to be difficult for people around you to fit within them, to take them on, to make them part of their life. And so I think it's a good practice. I think I could use more of this in my life. I think everyone could use a little more self-reflection time. This is my reflective podcast, so this is where I come to do it. But I don't just do it on here. I do it in the bathtub with a paper and pen. I do it lying down on the couch, just sitting in quiet. I do it all the time. I do it while I'm doing gardening or tidying up outside. I often do it while I'm driving. That seems to be a great place, though. I wonder, if someone studied me, if I'm really paying attention fully, but whatever. I find that's a great place to think, especially on routes you know really well and are not really so in tune with how to get to the place, more just paying attention to the semantics of the road. So I encourage you, take some time, figure out what your values are, what are the things you truly believe matter in life. And I think they'll be unique to everyone, but I think there are some things that are more fundamental that you don't need to look so far. You can look to other people or religion or books or movies or whatever inspires you. I've talked about it already, but the two books, The Last Lecture and Tuesdays with Morrie, that I also read recently, that what came out of that for me was definitely relationships. I think that's something I don't value enough in my own personal life, but I push it hard to everyone else. You got to talk to your family, you got to talk to your friends, you got to make time, and I can let that one slip from time to time. And if I make a conscious effort to make that part of my values and something I want to share with the world and something I want to share with children and my kid and all those things, then, then I will be more likely to go and do it. There's less excuses not to. And anything that can give us more excuses to do the things we truly believe are right for us and right for the world is a good enough reason to do it for me. Because it's easy to get lost in the busyness. But when we take the time and we reflect and we really get to know ourselves and what matters, then it's much easier for us to project that into the world, to project that to the people we care about and to the people we want to inspire or influence or whatever. So if you like, join me. Make your own little manifesto or whatever you'd like to call it. I don't like that word. Personally, it reminds me of like Nazi Germany, but whatever it is I'm going to call it. I don't know if it's my philosophy of living or whatever, but definitely I will post it when it is completed. Not that it will ever be completed, but it's something writable aside from this scribble scratch I have on my paper right now. And probably once I've also spoken through it with my partner and, we've kind of come alignment with goals. I'm sure there's things that will be on there that are more his values and more mine, but that's the thing about values, is a lot of them are good for other people. So even something that I might not have thought to put on my list that he would maybe value that I didn't, I'm sure it will be beneficial for me as well. And if not, then that's a discussion we have. That's the fun of parenting, Sometimes we disagree and we work through that, and we usually end up coming to an even better solution or compromise, whether the person's really passionate and the other one's not, or we find somewhere in the middle, or we just create our whole new way. So thanks for listening to my ramblings. More and more, I think a lot of what I will be doing will be a lot more just about me figuring life out, figuring things out as I go. And maybe you can get some benefit from that. That's what I like to do, I've realized, is really just work on me and hope that that can help others. I don't think it's fair for me to talk about improving everyone's lives when I got so much to improve myself. I've got so much to learn myself. I'm young. I'm really young. At least I feel really young, but I talk to the people in my field. They're much older than me. So there's a lot younger too, actually. But I like to take the perspective that I'm young. I'm in my 30s. So that's young. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. I don't know. Maybe it helped you. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you're encouraged. Or maybe you encourage me. Whatever works. Have yourself a great day. See you next week. Thank you for joining me in Moments with Monika. If you found any value in this, please like, comment, and share this podcast. I would love for your feedback and to continue this discussion further. Feel free to stop by monikaobermeyer.com or on social media to message me and share your thoughts. Thank you again. Let's change ourselves and the world around us together. Goodbye.